Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, which is going to be slightly different to how it seemed earlier on today.
We have come up with Plan B though, so we're okay. And
Yes.
It doesn't involve any Christmas parties or anything like that. Sorry, that's a bit of an old joke now, isn't it?
It's quite satirical, though.
Well,
Quite
it
like
is, yeah, but it
Satire
feels
on
like,
the
you
show.
know, it's like last week's Have I Got News For
Yeah,
You,
that's
not this
true.
week's. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I'll try and get better during the next hour.
Yeah, we don't want rerun stuff.
No, exactly. No, it's all live and fresh.
Right.
It is.
It better be now.
Yes.
Now you've
yeah,
said that.
definitely is.
We've got to keep the freshness in.
We have. Gareth Ainsworth after the draw with AFC Wimbledon.
A lot happened in that game, not just the game, but around it, as we'll hear as well. But there was obviously Chris Ferrino being announced for his contract.
There was,
after.
yes, that's true.
There was the NHS getting a fantastic reception at half-time.
There was.
Darius
really
Charles got a really nice reception.
Oh, that was really good as well. That was so nice. We do these things very, very well at Adams Park. It was really nice to see Darius Charles and Gareth was there and Pete and Rob and yeah, it was just lovely. That was a really nice moment.
It really, well, as you'll hear with the chat with Gareth, it really kind of highlights what the club's about in such a nice way.
And I like the fact that then the terrorists started singing "He's one of our own." I thought that was very good.
Absolutely. We'll hear from Chris Ferrino as well. We'll also hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, and we've got a special feature on the club shop.
Oh, we have, yes. Phil Catchpole on his wonderful Ringing the Blues podcast, which you can get from all good podcast providers completely for free, just like our very own Wycombe Wanderers Show podcast, which you can also get from all good podcast suppliers completely for free. Phil went into the club shop before the game against AFC Wimbledon and chatted to Missy Kuhik, and as he says, there's probably not many club shops where you'd find a director actually working in the club shop before the game.
No, it's a very good point. I'd imagine none.
I could now tell my story about the time that I saw Gareth in the club shop before a game, but he wasn't actually serving, to be honest. But I did think the same thing at the time, was you can't really imagine sort of like if you went to Anfield that you'd have Jurgen Klopp in the Anfield Superstore or whatever that maybe they call it about 20 minutes before the kickoff, whereas that was when I saw Gareth in the club shop. This was a couple of seasons ago now, but even so, I was very impressed that he was there.
Absolutely. Is that the story?
Yeah, that was the story. Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. I mean, he wasn't doing. You know, he was chatting to someone. So he'd obviously got he'd promised to give them, I think, like a piece of training kit or something like that. So there he was handing over the piece of training kit. So it did almost look like he was working in the shop. And I don't know, it just warms your heart to see that that our manager does stuff like that.
It's a really nice story, very nice to hear. We'll also be catching up with former midfielder Hakan Hayrettin as well, who scored a fantastic goal against Preston, of which the current manager was playing for at the time.
He's got a fantastic name as well.
Who, the current manager?
Hakan. Well, they're both.
You, sir, have a fantastic name.
Gareth Ainsworth, that's a good name as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're all good names, aren't
Well
they?
done, Mr. and Mrs. Ainsworth, for naming Gareth. That was a good name.
Name news here at Wycombe Sound.
Indeed, yes. Shall we go back to Saturday then?
I think we should.
It was cold.
Oh.
It was the first time this year where I really did think, oh yeah.
Battery operated trousers required.
Exactly. I forgot them again, which was really, really silly. It was one of those games, I wore the wrong thing, if you know what I mean. And you know how it's quite depressing when you get to a ground and within the first 5 minutes you're there thinking, I've worn the wrong thing. And
especially this time of year, because the sun starts to go down. You think, it's getting a bit chilly now.
Yeah, it just,
because you're quite warm from the walk up to the ground or from...
That's very true as well, yes, and then it starts to wear off.
Yes.
And so there's that 5 or 10 minute spell where you go from feeling like, almost maybe a bit too hot to then thinking, oh, this is going to be a bit of a long afternoon. And so it seemed as well on the pitch, because of course Wimbledon scored after just 4 minutes. We have to say it was a bit of a tap-in. It wasn't, we were still sort of half asleep or something. I'm not quite sure why. So
perhaps it was the cold.
Sorry to any of the players that are listening. Exactly, maybe it was. But yeah, it was a slightly frustrating goal to concede. And for quite a long time it did look like, oh goodness me, it's just going to be one of those games, and all of the things that Gareth has said about them, being a bit of a bogey team and whatever, and that we always struggle against them, you were thinking, oh, it is, it's going to be that game where, yes, really on paper you think we should be winning this, and actually we're not. And so then Akinfenwa, who else, of course, and you could imagine Jeff Stelling saying, the former AFC Wimbledon player, etc., etc.
Yes.
It was a lovely goal, a lovely lob. You don't see enough lobs in football. It was a super, super lob over the goalkeeper to put us back level. And then we were just thinking, oh good, okay, you never know, actually we might manage to sneak this. When goodness me, AFC Wimbledon scored again. In 90+2, I think it was. And of course their fans went absolutely berserk thinking that they'd won the game, but we still had time for Sully Kaikai to go down in their penalty area and for Joe Jacobson then to score the resultant penalty, meaning that we at least came away with a point.
Welcome to the latest edition of Don't Leave Adams Park Early.
That's very, very true, yes.
It all seems to happen in stoppage time, doesn't it?
It does. I was slightly nervous as well about JJ taking the penalty because he'd been injured previously, and he'd then taken the free kick, which didn't seem like a very good idea, and it wasn't the best free kick. It was the free kick of somebody who had just had a bit of an injury. And so when he then stepped up to take the penalty, and I was thinking, no, and also remembering what happened against Portsmouth a short time ago. But he didn't make the same mistake twice, and sure enough, yes, we did secure a point.
This won't work well for the radio, but perhaps on a future show we could do a graph of when things happen in stoppage time in games.
Indeed, it will be a bit like the Harry Potter books, if you know what I mean. It's like, the exciting things happen at the end. It's the same with Wycombe Wanderers games. Don't leave early because the exciting things always happen at the end.
Next slide, please. Phil spoke to Gareth after the game, and he sort of felt like it was 2 points dropped in the end.
You got to respect Wimbledon. They've come. They've scored 2 goals, 2 good goals. We knew they'd be dangerous. We knew they've got energy, they've got youth, they've got enthusiasm, and they've got a fantastic support. Their fans never shut up, and you can tell they're proud of this club that has built its way up back into the league, and rightly deserved the draw today, because I thought we lacked a little bit of quality at times, but the character the boys have shown there at the end there to come back and get a draw after being on top most of the second half. We should have scored. We should have been more clinical in front of goal. They've hit the post though, and they've worked David Stockdale as well, so this isn't one-sided by any means. I'm not going to even pretend that, but it felt like once we equalised, it was going to be us that won the game. Fantastic header from Radoni, was it, at the back stick there, and he's going to be some player. But like I say, the character shown from the boys to get back in the game, and obviously balls of steel from Joe Jacobson to stick that penalty in right at the end after his last one was missed. This squad doesn't know when it's beat. It's a point gained, obviously, because it's on the tally, but we were looking hopefully for 3 once we equalised. Brilliant from Hakan Fenway, but unfortunately we have to settle for a draw.
It shows you what the quality of the game was as well, because I've asked you about maybe 2 points dropped. The Wimbledon bench definitely reckons it's 2 points dropped for them as well. It was that kind of game, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course, and they're going to, and I can totally see why they're saying that, because they were 2-1 up with 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go, so of course it is, but they came with quality, they came with a plan. Obviously I think they're happy with the point, but they will be disappointed that they didn't get 3 after that goal in the stoppage time. But like I say, we never know when we're down, we never know when we're beat, and that was great character shown from us. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere today, and it was nice to see the Wimbledon fans getting right behind their teams, like I knew they did back in the day, and the Wycombe fans as well. Second half, really got behind. I think there was about 3,000 penalty claims when Sully Kaikai got dragged down, but I think it was an easy decision for the ref. It's tough to take, but there's another point on the board, and we're 42 now, I think. It's a great tally. A win next week would put us almost 2 points a game, which gets you promoted. We're in a great place, we're in a good position, we've got a decent squad. Probably a little bit leggy towards the end today, but pleased with the boys.
Hakan Fenway, I mean, I'm running out of words to describe the man. 39 years old, and he's still a game changer.
We had a real good chat midweek, about where he is, and Bale is unbelievable for this club. Just adding to his record goal tally. He's the record league goal scorer for Wycombe Wanderers. That doesn't come by accident, that doesn't come by fluke. That's a good player. He's an exceptional player, an exceptional talent, a brilliant leader, and above all that, an awesome human being. And I'm very humbled to have him in my side, but he'd be exactly the same, saying exactly the same things, and that's why the man is so good. And I think Wycombe really sit down and realise what they've got with him, because he's sensational, and what a goal. He could have got 1 or 2 more as well. There's some great balls put in the box second half, but he's got us back in it without a doubt.
And defensively, no Anthony Stewart again today. Is that still that illness still hanging around?
Yeah, he's got illness. David Wheeler, unfortunately, illness as well. I'm sure there's going to be more clubs and more around the country with the winter coming. This the pandemic getting ramped up again, and illness of colds and flus, and people are saying, oh, it's not this but it's this, and it's going to happen. We've just got to be as safe as we possibly can here, and we need to ramp up what we're doing now, because it is winter, so even in a non-pandemic era, I think you've got to watch your colds and flu over winter time. So keeping the squad together, keeping them healthy will be really important. There's a few tired legs in there, and if I'm honest, a couple of players played with some serious knocks as well, stitches in feet and injections here and there. So thank you, boys, for going through the pain barrier for me. Didn't quite get there today, but take a point all day as long as we can back it up next week away for Bolton.
And you've always said when players do miss out through injury or illness or suspension, it provides an opportunity. Chris Ferrino's come in and made his Football League debut, and he's just announced in the bar now in front of the Wycombe fans that he's got a 2.5-year contract here through the development squad.
I think Chris is an excellent prospect for Wycombe Wanderers, as is Anis Mehmete, Ali Al-Hamidi and Ali Pendlebury. Some young boys who are really coming through at this moment, and I'm excited to say Chris has proved himself for me enough already with his application, the mental side he's got rather than just the physical side, because we look at all aspects of a footballer. Chris has got a real chance. So centre halves are very hard to come by. We know that. Every window we have a look for them, and honestly they are gold dust. So getting a good one, getting him signed up early at a young age, I think is great business for this club, and I couldn't have done it without the Courie's support. Thanks for them. It's up to me now to get Chris to realise his full potential, which I think can be a top player.
Looking at his playing record, he was playing at Wingate and Finchley before coming to join Wycombe, and Anis Mehmete down at Step 9 as well. It's a good message for players playing at that level, and also for scouts that there's talent out there.
Yeah, and I was told I wasn't good enough at 18 and 19, so it's only opinions, it's only timing. Some players develop slower than others, some develop quickly and then don't make it. It's right place, right time, opportunity, and a little belief from somebody, and they've both got total belief from me. I think they're going to be excellent players, and for years to come, hopefully for Wycombe Wanderers.
I imagine there are some fantastic aspects of being a manager, but to hand a player a contract, their first contract, and also their first sort of league start as well, must be quite special.
It must be very, very special, mustn't it? And just you must feel like you've crowned the winner of the X Factor or something like that at that moment.
Literally, sort of on you go. This is going to be the start of something quite exciting.
Yeah, and particularly somebody like Chris Ferrino, who being brought in to make up the numbers, as it were, and then ending up, actually making it. It must just be wonderful.
And for that to be announced to fans after the game in the bar, like it was as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, that's a nice thing that you wouldn't get really at a bigger club, would you? But actually being able to do something like that in front of the fans and seeing their reaction sort of like firsthand, that must be absolutely wonderful.
It'd be great to be able to hear from Chris Ferrino, wouldn't it?
It would be rather good, yes.
Let's do exactly that.
Here's one you prepared earlier.
Speaking to Matt, it's quite windy though.
Chris, it's been a whirlwind few weeks for you. I think many Wycombe fans may not have been able to sort of name you 2 or 3 months ago, and all of a sudden a lot of talk about you. You must be so pleased with your progress here.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the start of this year I couldn't have dreamed of being in this scenario. I think I've been here maybe 7 or 8 months, and like you said, I pretty much came in as a nobody. Gaffer mentioned it, came in to make up numbers in a trial game here at Bisham. Performed well, earned myself a trial, and it's been a hard graft, recovering from a knee injury for 5 months, and then the Papa John's game. It's been a great learning experience since I've been fit the last 3 months.
You talk about learning experience, you literally were learning, weren't you? You were off at university when you got the call. Talk us through how that came about.
I woke up in bed about 11:30, maybe 10 o'clock at the earliest. Got a call from an agent that I hadn't spoken to for a few years when I was at Colchester, and said, there's a trial game at Wycombe, are you fit? Arguably fit or not. I came in, I think I've done alright. I earned myself a trial, and yeah, here I am.
I guess it's one of those sliding doors moments. Had it not worked out, you could have continued your studies. You don't know where your career might have taken you, but I guess now you're fully focused with a contract under your belt on making it in professional football.
Definitely. I think I made the choice to go to uni. I always have loved and enjoyed playing football, but to do it full time and given the backing of the gaffer, Dobbo, the Kuigs, and all the physio staff I worked hard with, it's been amazing.
Some incredible players to learn from as well. I think the gaffer said he couldn't have wished to have made your debut alongside two better individuals than Joe Jacobson and Jack Grimmer, but Tav, Anthony Stewart, plenty of other experience that you can learn from.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Even when I was on trial, I kind of got a gauge I was doing all right, and I remember speaking to Tools after one training session. I was picking up so many tips, little habits, stuff like that, and I knew after halfway through my trial decision, yes or no or not, I was going to stick it out with football, because this club showed me it's a great to play full-time football. It's a pleasure, honestly.
I guess some of the other players have been examples of breaking through. Anis and Ollie Pendlebury, and I guess patience has to come into it as well, because obviously saw you play great against Burton, and as soon as other players become available again, there will be some rotation and chopping and changing, but just taking the opportunities when they come will be key for you, won't they?
Of course. I think the one word I always use when I'm here is grateful. So I never go knocking on the gaffer's door or anything like that. I know I have to bide my time. You mentioned Ollie Pendlebury, he's 2 years younger than me, got his opportunity before me, but there was never any worry or panic. I knew what I had to do at the training ground day in, day out, and on my days off as well, just making sure I do things right now and making up for a bit of lost time, I guess.
You said to me after the Burton game that you didn't have too much notice before kick-off that you were playing in the team. I guess that maybe helped you with your lack of nerves in the end, I guess.
I think if I got told the day before, I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep as well. I got told about an hour and 20 minutes before kick-off, so there's 20 minutes in the change room with a bit jitters and nerves, but I managed to sort myself out. And I think once I step onto the pitch, there's a narrow focus, and I'm very much focused on the game.
And you've had some great landmarks already. Your first goal at Hartlepool, obviously that was your debut. You had your league debut, plenty to look forward to in 2022.
Definitely. I'm working on my next goal, my aim. I'm not sure where to put the ceiling now, because as I said a year ago, I couldn't imagine it. So I think, the sky's the limit, definitely.
And how did it feel walking out there to a stadium full of fans, and then Wycombe fans really getting behind you, singing your name, and that must be an amazing experience for any professional. Yeah,
it was amazing. I have to admit, it's hard to hear the fans when, as I said, narrow focus. You kind of have to block all that out, but that's great. I think we've got great support at home, and I think it's important that we keep bringing the fans down, and I'm looking forward to Boxing Day as well. It's always a big crowd.
Great to be a young player looking forward to Boxing Day.
It is, yes, and hearing the crowd chanting your name, even though he does then, I think, rather interestingly admit that it's difficult to hear the crowd, which is something that David Wheeler said before as well. Actually.
That is interesting, isn't it? Because you'd think you're in a sort of a bowl, in a sort of in the middle of it, but perhaps not.
I suppose you're at work, aren't you?
Sure.
And I suppose all of us, when we're at work, if you've got to be focused on what you're doing, you're probably not necessarily listening to the fact that the Terriers maybe are singing 5 Tafazzolis. As they did again on Saturday. I did very much enjoy their rendition.
It's very festive, isn't it?
Of the 12 Ryan Tafazzolis.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll be giving you some ideas of what to get for Christmas gifts from the club shop. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth.
Maybe 5 Tafazzolis.
Yeah, maybe little model ones.
Yes. Oh, that would be good. That's a good idea. Yeah, Missy, you should do that.
Make a note of that.
Yeah.
And also we'll catch up with a former midfielder next who had a bit of a midfield tussle with the current boss.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound. Christmas on Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll look ahead to the festive fixtures. We were going to look ahead to Saturday's fixture, but there now isn't one.
So we're going to talk about some blancmange or something like that for 10 minutes. No,
blancmange.
We're not really. Yes.
Angel Delight?
Indeed.
Blancmange. Oh, that's just reminded me of school dinners. We had blancmange a lot at school dinners.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I can tell you didn't.
Don't think it was proper blancmange either.
You weren't very keen.
No. We'll also tell you how Wycombe Wanderers women got on in their most recent fixture too. But first, a big thank you, as always, to...
thank you.
That wasn't rehearsed, was it? To the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, and we've got one of their member to say a very happy birthday to in a few moments' time. But first, I've been catching up with midfielder Hakan Hayrettin, who, I'll let him tell you how he became a Wanderer.
It's quite ironic because obviously I've looked at certain social medias. It's got that I was a Wanderer and I played for 13 clubs. Well, I only played for 13 clubs because when we was at Barnet, we had the All-Stars there, and you could only play 11. So there was numerous occasions where many of us would go out on loan and play games at different clubs. And at the time, John Steele came in for me. He was the manager of Redbridge, which is now Dagenham. And I played for him, and I did well there, and one of my games was against Wycombe, and I think Martin liked me. The gaffer liked me from watching me play, and the next thing I know, they'd come in for me, and, you know, I wanted to go. I said that I wanted to go, and I wanted to go to Wycombe, and I got my move on a permanent basis, so I was really happy about that. The game was at Wycombe. We lost 1-0. I think that at the time Wycombe beat us 1-0, and I had a good game. And then thereafter that, on transfer deadline day, I signed for Martin O'Neill.
Because you initially came on loan, didn't you?
Yeah, I initially came on loan, but it was more to be a permanent thing, so I didn't want to stay at Barnet after. Once I knew there was interest, I knew, with the greatest respect to the people at Barnet, we had so many good players that every other week the team was being rotated. I went on loan to Torquay while I was there. I left and went and played out in Turkey. In the Premiership, I came back. And then it was just a revolving door, really, for players going out on loan, coming back. And that's the way Barry Fry did it. But as soon as I knew that Martin O'Neill was interested, I jumped at the chance. And I had a fantastic season, unbelievable season. To play in a trophy final and to win the league was amazing. So I did a double that year. I won the league with them, and Barnet got promoted as well. So I was quite fortunate and blessed.
No, definitely. And what were your first impressions when you arrived at the club?
Well, very professional. I was welcomed by a great set of lads, so I still keep in touch with most of them now. And it was just an amazing time to be on the journey, really. And the club, everyone was friendly. It was well run. The chairman at the time, Ivor Beeks, was there, and we had AP Alan Parry there as well. It was good times. And in a short space of time, I got settled in very, very quickly. And we did some fantastic things in a short space of time.
Did it feel at the time that you were part of something really special?
Yeah, I did, because the players there, I'd probably say, weren't as probably good as Barnet, but the team was much better. The team had everything, had pace, it had power, and so did the Barnet team. But, you know, it had big personalities and characters, and with Martin at the helm, there was two different types of managers. Martin was quite astute, you know, he'd keep you waiting, he'd make you want to play for him, whereas Barry would get you to play for him. So there's two different sort of styles in management there, and it was just an amazing time. I settled in really quickly. The support was amazing, you know, the facilities were fantastic, and I was just lucky to be part of something. I bolted on to what they already had. And
you mentioned the trophy final. What are your memories of that day? Because that must have been quite special coming on.
Yeah, it was, to be honest with you. And in them days, I think you only had 2 subs or 3 subs, and I was one of them. The gaffer called me and he said, look, before the game, he said this, because I played in both legs of the semi-final. I played left back in the first leg, and I remember having a torrid. I weren't the greatest in the second leg at Gander Goose Lane against Sutton. I played in my preferred position, and I remember Keith Scott coming back from a long-term injury to play in that game, and we won 4-0. And he just said to me before the game, Hack, it's a close call. You know, close call. I'm going to go with the players that have been here longer, otherwise you'd be starting. And I respected that, but just to be a part of it was an amazing feeling.
Because I felt it as well on the day, you know, it felt so special. Just the whole town went, didn't they? And you saw people on the train who were from your school or from your road, and it just felt like such a great occasion.
Well, for any player to play at Wembley is a great occasion, and I was blessed to be one of them, and I was blessed to be a part of a Wycombe Wanderers team that had fantastic support on the day, and we were lucky to have that, and I'll never forget it. Never forget it at all. And it brings back some really good memories, and, you know, I'll never forget them.
And as you say, to play in the trophy final, but also to be part of that promotion-winning side as well, must have been so special. It
was, yeah. So like I said to you, that year Barnet got promoted as well for the Football League. But what I'm saying is that there was a buzz around Adams Park. It was organised much better than what it was at Underhill. There was a good board of directors that run the club properly. We had an astute manager who was probably going to go into bigger and better things, who respected everybody at the club. And, you know, with him, you had to earn his respect. He wouldn't just give it to you. So it was an amazing feeling. And the day, well, the whole time, really, was just amazing there. And I've still got fond memories of the place, very good fond memories. And like I said, I was at the FSA dinner recently and I bumped into 2 directors. And I did a podcast. I think it was Phil. Was it Phil? Phil does a podcast.
That's right, yes.
I did a podcast with him, and he says to me, when we won the league on the day, you had me on your shoulders carrying me around the pitch. So, all these memories are fantastic memories. And as a player, you take it with you, and for supporters, it stays with them.
No, definitely. And as you say, it's so nice that you're still in touch with that group of players today.
Yeah, for sure. I speak to Chris quite a bit. Obviously, he had the misfortune of having a heart attack. I was there on the day because I was playing in that Barnet 11 when that happened, and I'm in a group, a group chat with them. So I speak to some of them occasionally. Yeah, I haven't been able to go out with them in the last 2 or 3 years. I know the boys get together and go out, but obviously during this pandemic, it's been quite difficult. So hopefully next one I'll be there with them.
Now that must have been quite scary to be in, to sort of witness that as well.
Obviously, Glyn played for Barnet as well, and it was a Barnet 11 v Wycombe 11, and I was the one that knew his family, so it was quite a terrorising time for me at the time because I had to break the news to his kids. We didn't even know if he was going to be alive at the time, so I had to brace myself and tell him what was going on, but luckily he pulled through like he always does.
Yeah, no, so thankful that he's doing well.
Yeah, I spoke to him, he's okay. He's getting better.
And something else that I know that you're very well known for is and I'm especially pleased to speak to you about is obviously your goal against Preston, which I'm sure is something that you're very happy to speak fondly of.
I think that was the turning point of our season. No one expected us to go there and beat Preston. Wycombe's manager at the time, Gareth Ainsworth, was playing for them. I had an unbelievable tussle with him in midfield. He was wearing a mask at the time because I think he had a fractured cheekbone. And we had a bit of a tussle on the pitch, and he was on the floor, and I remember pulling the mask off his face and letting it go, just to let him know that we're not going to be taking no prisoners today. And it was a close fought game. And I was fortunate enough to get the ball in their half, just inside their own half with minutes, not even a minute to go, I think, where Tim Langford just trapped it and played it to me, and I just made my mind up from then that I'm going to shoot because it felt right, and it went in. And I think that was the turning point of our season to push us to get into the playoffs.
And as I say, it must have felt like such a special time, obviously to be scoring like that, but also to have been that sort of catalyst, if you like, for that achievement.
Yeah, to be part of such a good team, because usually I've been involved in clubs as a coach, as a manager, or even as a player. Like when you get promoted, you galvanise, and the momentum takes you through. We had that in abundance at Wycombe, so and I still say this now: the level between National League and Division 2, there's not that much of a big difference, and we proved that. I proved it on 2 occasions, once with Barnet and once with Wycombe. The gap wasn't that big, and we galvanised something, and we fully deserved to be where we were. But that game there was, I think, a turning point of our season because big things were made of it. John Beck was there at the time. There was all kinds of shenanigans going on where we were told not to drink the tea, and he would put heaps of sand in each corner so the balls could hold up. I remember the gaffer refused to play until the sand was taken off. But on that particular Friday when we were practising, we finished training and he disappeared, so we just carried on practising shooting, and I think that may have helped. But I'll never forget them memories for me. Fond memories, and sometimes my son even says to me, "Do you know what, Dad? It's been voted the best goal in Wycombe's ever history in the Football League," and I take great pride in that,
No, definitely, and the whole team seemed to play such exciting attacking football at that time as well.
Yeah, it was. We played with 2 wingers, played with 2 forwards. We had Guppy on one side and Hutchinson on the other, and we had some great midfield players, and I was competing for a place at the time with Simon Stapleton and obviously Keith Ryan, both legends at the club. There was me in there as well, and Keith Scott was immense up front. And from my time of knowing Westy and Kim Casey, these are non-league legends. You only get to see these players once in a lifetime, and these were non-league legends that were proven at this level. And every time the ball popped into that box, you knew we were going to score. Keith Scott was immense. I'll never forget him playing in the second leg against Sutton, where he scored an unbelievable goal over his head. All of them. You can't single one player out and say that he was special. And I know the gaffer liked Steve Guppy because he had an unbelievable wand of a left foot, and we used to just give him the ball and let him get on with it. But there was other players that had to get that ball and give it to him. So You know, it was a good all-round team that we had there that was capable of playing some really good stuff.
And you must have such great memories of playing under their manager as well.
Well, for sure. He was, I think, one of the best managers I played for. I think tactically he was astute. Even now you can see from where he's gone and where he's been. Very intelligent man. And he wanted you, he made you play for him. You know, if Martin O'Neill would say, I'd see you in the change room at 1:15, he'd turn up at 5-2. He'd keep you waiting, you know. Very simple in his methods, but very effective. And he got the best out of his players, and he galvanised something for himself, and he went on to do some wonderful things. And he still is capable, in my opinion.
And so nice as well that you've got that to kind of reflect on. You know, you were at the club such a comparatively short amount of time, but that your stay there has had such an impact on you.
Yeah, it has, you know, because I've always been involved in coaching and management, like I said. I mean, I'm not a traveller sort of player in terms of, I mean, I play for like Barnet, Wycombe, Cambridge, Peterborough, Doncaster. I went and learnt the Torquay. And really, the rest of them were all playing for Barnet. Oh, the last one was Hazen Reading when I'd been shot to bits because of my knees. But really, the rest of them were just going on loan when I was at Barnet and we couldn't get the team. But I picked up a lot and, you know, picking up a lot of qualities from different people to take me onto my coaching career, management career, you know. So I've been quite fortunate, quite lucky. I've got over 600 games as a manager under my belt. I've been involved in winning things. And, you know, I'm blessed that I'm still doing the job that I love.
How did you find the transition into management? Was it something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do it, and I think it's got to be within you to do it. You know, you've got to really want to do it. And if your personality and character's not of the ilk of being that person where you can turn on the sixpence, I don't think it's for you. Obviously, the game's changed now, society's changed, it's got to be a different way, a different method of talking to players, but I always wanted to do it, always had it in my blood, and I've been fortunate to work at places like Dagenham and Luton. I've managed in the National League, and I'm now managing at Maidstone United, where I'm full-time, and hopefully we'll have a chance of getting to the National.
Yeah, it's like, because you've obviously played at different levels and you're aware of that kind of level of football and what those players are like and what they're going through as well. That must really help. It
does, of course, because I've played at a higher level, I've managed at a higher level, and I've also done it at a lower level. So as long as I know the levels around me, above me and below me and around me, and I have a good knowledge of players, and I think that you'll have a chance. The most important thing is when you do this job, you've got to have your own philosophy of how you want to play and what you want to do. And if you can stick to that and believe in what you do and get the players to play for you, you'll have a chance. But, like I said, I learnt a lot of people like Martin O'Neill. It was an unbelievable time for me just watching him and how he did things. I remember we played Slough. It was like a local derby for us. And I don't know if he started Tim Langford, but I think he brought him on a sub. And he scored this unbelievable goal. And he turned around and he just said, that's what I signed him for. So he knew what he wanted. You know, he just wasn't signing a goal scorer. He knew exactly what he wanted and how they were going to score and what they were going to do at different times of the game, you know.
And are there any other particular memories from games or kind of behind-the-scenes stuff, really, that really stands out from your time at the club as well?
I think when we played Runcorn in the trophy, I think when we won the league at home, when it was nigh on impossible, we beat Runcorn at home. My old teammate at Doncaster at the time was a guy called Gary, became my teammate at Doncaster, called Gary Brabin. Ken McKenna was then was playing for Runcorn as well, who I became close with. You know, they took the door off the hinges, the change room door, because we battered them on that night. Unbelievable performance by us. I think we won 4-0 at home. That was just the whole place was rocking. And it was just a pleasure to be a part of it, you know?
No, definitely. And as you say, it's fantastic to have those memories and those things that you went through.
Yeah. They're never going to be taken away. They're always going to be there with me. You know, I know that it's a fantastic place to apply your trade. It's a fantastic place to go and play football. And I think the club's done amazingly well. I think they've got a fantastic manager in Gareth who's done an unbelievable job. And I think they've been stable in what they've done, and they haven't wavered once. And long may it continue. Like I said, it's got a soft spot in my heart. You know, I look at a few results after a game, Wycombe being one of them, and when they win, I'm happy.
And you mentioned your son briefly. I was reading that you've had him training with you at Maidstone as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He's a young lad that represents the county. He represents Hertfordshire County. He's doing really well at school. He's on course to get his A-level. He's done his mocks. He's done really well, but he's got his heart on Saturday sitting, being a professional footballer, but obviously his studies come first. He doesn't look out of place at all. You just got to keep his feet on the ground. That's all.
No, definitely. And just finally, what's your message to Wycombe fans who I'm sure are really pleased to hear from you and to hear that you're doing well as well?
Yeah, listen, wishing everybody health, wealth and success. Have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. Get behind the team, get behind the manager, and hopefully you'll get promoted again, or we will get promoted again. Without a shadow of a doubt, got the right man for the job, and I hope to see him soon at a game.
Really nice to speak to Hakan and hear his memories. It's strange because obviously he and some of the other guests we've had on the show as well is someone that I went to see just as a student, and then if you think like 30 years later you'll be chatting to him on the radio.
And it probably doesn't seem that long ago that you were there, actually.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
But really, really nice to hear, and good luck to him and to Maidstone as well.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't have said that once upon a time, but it's all right now. They're
No.
I think there's a big enough gap between us in the divisions.
No, definitely. They'll be in safe hands.
Yeah,
Something else I've learnt as well, we should learn things from people who know more than us, and Martin O'Neill, obviously someone who we will look up to, and I've now learnt that if I arrange to meet someone at 1:15, I don't need to turn up till 1:55.
But you didn't have that experience, I don't think, with him on the phone, did you?
No, he was very prompt.
Yeah. Also, that to be honest, that would annoy me a bit. I'd be
if it was me, I'd be there 10 minutes early.
Exactly. Yeah,
but that made you want to play for him.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You'd be happy to wait.
But no, really, really good hearing from Hakan, and you can still see his goal against Preston, by the way, on YouTube.
Well worth a look.
Definitely well worth a look.
And against Preston as well.
Yeah, on their old plastic pitch.
Oh yes. With sort of David Moyes, and that was that sort of time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Gareth playing, of course, with his mask on.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I think you'd have to be quite brave to do that.
Oh, I think so.
About how Gareth was back in the day.
Yes, he was very combative.
Yes.
Someone we must say a very special happy birthday to as well, also from the Ex-Players Association, is Ken Brown, who celebrates his 90th birthday on Saturday.
Happy birthday, Ken.
So I thought I'd share this with you because it's something that JDT from the Ex-Players Association has put together about Ken. The year is 1931. I'm literally reading this to you. You're sitting comfortably. One of Wycombe Wanderers' greatest, as they lift the FA Amateur Cup for the first and only time by beating Hayes and Highbury. Alf Britnell wrote himself into the record books with a late winner. At the other end of the pitch, Jim Kipping was between the posts, adding to his reputation, which includes 289 appearances in a decade of service. You don't get those sort of players around these days.
Yeah, no, you don't. You get Hakan saying, I haven't been to many clubs, and then he says, I've been to 13, and you think, that's quite a lot, really.
That was also the year that another future Blues goalkeeper was born. This week, we send 90th birthday wishes to Ken Brown. Unlike Jim, he didn't get to make a cup final appearance, being understudy to Dennis Sirrett, who we've spoken to on the show, during the 1957 Wembley run, but he was good enough to regularly challenge Sid Cairns' regular number one and made 104 senior appearances between 1956 and 1962. A hugely popular figure at Lokes Park, along with late wife Maggie. Ken also spent 3 years at Maidenhead and was assistant manager at Slough Town. Slough getting quite a mention this evening. Starting his career with Slough Centre, the owner of his own stationery and print business. Before retiring, Ken will be celebrating with his son Richard 3 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. His many friends from his Wycombe days will also be raising a glass to a great character and a lovely man. Happy 90th, Ken.
Oh, happy birthday, Ken. I think there's a slight typo in that message, because I've just had a look up about FA Amateur Cup finals, and in 1931 we played Hayes at Highbury in the final. It wasn't at Wembley.
That might be my...
In fact, it wasn't at Wembley, the FA Amateur Cup final, until 1949, so they used to play it wherever. And we played ours at Highbury, which is quite a good place to play, really, considering that some of them were played at places like the Den and Ayrton Park. But yes, we beat Hayes 1-0.
Excellent research.
online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound. Christmas on Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers show. I don't know if we've mentioned it nearly enough, but we're not looking ahead to the Bolton Wanderers game on Saturday. The reason is it's been postponed.
No, so we're trying to fill the time by sort of playing you the trail of the Wycombe Wanderers show in case you've never heard it before.
Tell us about Wycombe Wanderers women. How are they getting on?
So not quite so well this week, but they did not have their full squad. It was only the League Cup, in that way that when you lose the League Cup games you can say it's all right, we're concentrating on the league. So they played top of the table at Abingdon United, and they went down 8-1.
Oh,
I know that's exactly what you pull that face that you make when you lose sort of like 8-1. It's like,
you sort of wince.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And you're now going to ask me actually who they're playing this
next
weekend.
Just say next.
Yeah,
who are they playing next?
Who are they playing next? And my computer's not finding out quick enough. You can tell it's live, can't you?
We'd have definitely edited this bit out. This bit wouldn't have made the final cut.
Okay, so they are playing.
No, let's do it properly.
Oh, okay.
Who are they playing next?
They are playing.
No, you're supposed to say straight away.
It doesn't actually say.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that they now must be on some sort of Christmas
break.
Yeah,
I did suspect.
Sorry, this is the rather poor FA website. Which
it doesn't really update.
It's not very good, does it?
No, let's move on.
Also, they've still got fixtures there from like the 31st of October, which is very confusing.
Yeah, let's make like that bit never happened. Okay. All the best to Dave and the team when they're next in action.
Yes,
which we're not sure of currently.
Yes.
But you
don't want your last game to be an 8-1 defeat.
No, of course.
I'd be arranging a friendly for this weekend just so you can
get back on the horse.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
Bike.
Get back
horse.
on the horse.
Yes. I think that's the expression, isn't it?
It is.
Get back on the bike. That's not the That's not the expression. It's
no, I think it's
horse.
get back on the horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you fell off a bike or horse, it's a similar sort of thing, though, isn't it?
Have you fallen off a bike?
Yes. More on that another time.
Okay.
First, though, let's hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth. We start by talking about, obviously, the game on Saturday, and we said that there was so much around it, loads of different things. The NHS being sort of commended is the right word, I think, on the pitch of that semicircle at half-time.
I don't imagine that he's ever fallen off a bike.
No. But also all those other bits as well with Chris Ferrino and Darius Charles, and this is his reaction.
Hopefully people are proud of their club. That's what we try and preach all the time, and there's no point just talking about it. We want to put it into action, and first and foremost the NHS, who are again so prominent at the moment, and we don't know how lucky we are sometimes until you go and live in other countries or you go to their places. They're an absolute godsend for us, and they're going to be obviously needed quite heavily over the next few weeks with all the talk of what's happening. So that was brilliant. And then Darius, again, it's something we do, before the game, and a lot of clubs would say, why you do it before the game, why you give them a boost. It's what we are. It's what Wycombe Wanderers is, and we did it with Scotty Cashcote, we did it with Darius. It's what we are and who we are, and that's important rather than everything else. I know results are important, but I think your identity is so special. People talk when clubs are on losing streaks and they have no identity. We certainly have identity at Wycombe Wanderers, and that brings me to, again, my identity of giving young players a chance. Chris Ferrino made his league debut on the Tuesday of the week, and obviously Ali Al-Hamadi, who there's a lot of hype about and talk about. He made the squad for Saturday as well. He's competing very heavily with TJ DeBar at the moment. Both the strikers they're both scoring, both training really well, and it's a real tough decision to include either of them in the squad. It's been nice to be able to get both of them in at one stage, but Ali's proved himself in training, and I think he's desperate for this moment, this chance. That he's his story is unbelievable, and what he's been through to get to this stage. Both of those they're gonna feature very soon as well. But pleased to say that after all that and all those other incidents around the pitch, on the pitch, we deserved something out of the game, but so did Wimbledon, and I think that's probably why you can say a draw was a fair result. we weren't at our best, and then second half we seemed to switch on and get back to what we do well, and especially with Bayo coming on, I thought it changed the game a little bit. And at 1-1, I'm sure, like me, everyone else in the stadium thought there was only one team going on to win that, and it wasn't Wimbledon, but fair play to them. They've got some real good energy, some real good kids, and Jack Redoni proving to be a real star signing, star young player coming through for them, and he's going to be around for a long time, I think. He popped up with a goal in the 92nd minute, was it? So it was a real tough one to take, but typical Wycombe. 2 minutes later, we see people running back in who left their seats to see a penalty going from JJ to equalise. It was brilliant, and like I say, probably both teams deserve something out of that game, and good to know that when you're not firing on all cylinders, you're not getting beat. That's something we've worked on heavily.
And a great advert for the team as well, that, we talk about the youngsters, but there are such experienced names getting the goals on Saturday as well. Yeah,
both of those, both played a big part in my last 10 years at the club, and JJ the last 8 seasons, I think, Bayo 6, and the stalwarts of Wycombe Wanderers. You talk about, the names gone by of your Keith Ryans and your Matt Bloomfields, for instance, and Guppies and Carrolls. Akin Fenwer and Jacobson must be talked about in the same vein. There's no two ways about it. They've both played huge parts in the success of Wycombe Wanderers, and I'm really proud that both of them are still fully committed to this squad, and hopefully we can give a cherry on the top by finishing in that in that top 6 places at the end of the season. That's what we're aiming for. It's going to be tough, but they're real leaders in the group, and brilliant to see them both score goals on Saturday.
And great to see you had a practice match at Bisham Abbey again with the youngsters on the score sheet. What did you take from that?
Yeah, brilliant. The way the club is progressing. Sully Kaikai and Darryl Hogan both getting valuable minutes because they've just been on the fringes at the moment, and not been happy to be on the fringes, but been understanding and wanted their minutes. So both of those got minutes. Darryl was really unfortunate. He got the bobble from hell right at the end there, and it could have been all 4 internationals scoring that day. Sully scored a great free kick. Darryl ran the show from in midfield position really well. Sully scored a great free kick, and obviously Ali, TJ and Jack Wakely all scoring as well. So real progress from that development group, real progress. I thought that some of the boys have put themselves right in the frame, and they keep performing like that. I've got real difficult decisions, not just me, that the club's coming on so well as a whole, really is. And proud of Sam Grace and Matt Bloomfield, what they've done with these young boys. Blooms is obviously doing the first team a lot now as well, so he's making that transition really well. We have a real good underbelly of talent if needed to be called on, and I think as I go back to the beginning of the conversation, with things ramping up pandemic-wise, you never know who's going to get a chance or how many numbers you're going to have, and we've got to make sure that everyone's ready to put on that first team jersey.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday that David Wheeler and Anthony Stewart missed out through illness. Are they better now?
Yeah, they're both back in the building, which is great to see. Whether they'll be fit enough, we'll see. But really, really pleased to get them both back in. We missed those 2 big names in the squad, and without Josh Scowen, who missed out last weekend, and Dominic Gape again, it's crucial that we get all our best players fit.
And something else that you mentioned post-match at the weekend is that a win on Saturday would take you to the level of points, which would be 2 points per game, which would be good enough for promotion.
Yeah, I think it'd be almost 2 points per game. I think it'd be 23, would it be? 23 and 45. So, I think we're a point short there of 2 points per game. And I think if you start any season and you get 2 points a game, you end up promoted. That'd be that 92 points that I'd end up with if we keep that ratio going, and no team in the world would not be promoted on 92 points. So we've got to make sure that we keep going, keep consistent is really important, and keep our values, keep our identity, as I spoke about. But the boys want to win games. They believe they can win games every time they go out on the pitch, and all teams are going to have a little spell. We know that. and we've had ours over Christmas the last couple of years. We've got to make sure that we're on that. We're a lot stronger than we ever have been around this time of year. Just got to make sure the consistency levels are there, and January will be crucial for some clubs. Maybe some clubs will lose players, maybe some clubs will get players. We've got a couple of targets. I can't see us losing anybody. I think Rob and Pete and Missy are absolutely hell-bent on keeping the best squad at Wycombe Wanderers to give us the best chance. So I think unless there's ridiculous offers coming for anyone, the squad's going to be how it is, and we look forward to maybe adding one or two and having a real push for the end of the season. But let's get this Christmas period over first, and I want to set up these next 4 games, which can be mental. Cambridge, Ipswich, Charlton, and Sunderland can be a real decider on the season. So we want to be strong.
And 5 games unbeaten in the league. It must feel like there's some real momentum building now.
Yeah, especially after there was a panic from everyone else around. There was no panic inside me. I can assure you, I know what we've got here, and I know in the Ipswich and the Portsmouth games, we really did deserve to something like that. We probably played better against those 2 teams than we did against AFC Wimbledon, but that's football for you. So there's no panic inside me. I think there was a few worried glances and a few panic stations from other people around, but I think that's why when everyone else is looking at me, I've got to keep calm. I've got to keep keep the programme in place, and the cup games again. This how we didn't win those games as well, but we put all that to bed now. Back on track now, like you say, 5 unbeaten. I'd like to turn a couple of draws into wins, and we can't take any game lightly.
It does feel, doesn't it, like we're on a bit of a roll.
It does. And so it's a bit frustrating in a way. What's happened has happened, but at the same time, given our previously fairly woeful run over the festive period,
which Gareth touched on as well.
Exactly. Maybe it's not a bad thing. And you begin to wonder, I don't know, will there be any games played over Christmas and New Year? We've obviously heard tonight that actually more games from the Premier League have been postponed now at the weekend.
Well, I think they're hoping that by postponing them now, that it will be possible to play them over that.
Yeah, they will go ahead, but I don't know. You just suddenly, the whole of Christmas from a football point of view seems to have a bit of a question mark over it. And again, but my initial reaction to the postponement was, oh good, well at least now that's one less game in hand that other teams will have. But actually, if they get postponed as well, then that's not going to happen. And as you say, it does now mean a cold, possibly Tuesday night in Bolton, somewhere where we're maybe trying to fit the fixtures in some ways. At least we're not in the FA Cup.
Yes, good point.
Or the Pizzeria Leyland Daff Trophy.
Oh yes, because there'll be a weekend in January, won't there, where the third round certainly.
Will there? Who are we meant to be playing that weekend? That's a good question.
Yes,
we'll find that out.
Yeah, well,
yes,
tune in next week.
Indeed. Whilst we now listen to Phil's interview. So Phil went into the club shop before the game against AFC Wimbledon because Missy Kuhig was in there, and Phil put it to her that probably there weren't that many directors that you'd find it in the club shop, and that very much it's her club shop.
The shop is my area. I get to pick the merchandise, I get to design the merchandise, and occasionally I get to come in and sell the merchandise.
Well, selfishly, let's talk about what I wanted in the shop, and you've delivered baby stuff.
Yes.
My little son now, he's got a little shirt, he's got the socks now, and there's now baby grows for new Chairboys and girls that are going to be born, in the forthcoming season.
Exactly, blue and pink. Because at first I thought, we'll only do blue because that's our color. And we had a huge demand that people wanted pink ones too with the logo on it. So we can do that. We can deliver what people need.
I might have to have another baby now.
No, you're going to have to, right.
Wow. And there's a bottle of gin on the counter as well. Wycombe are diversifying.
That's right. We're trying to expand the selections so that there's something in the shop for everyone. Gin is not my cup of tea or my cup of gin for that matter, but a lot of people are going to enjoy it and love it. Next up, maybe we need a bottle of wine with our label on it. That would be my thing.
Oh, definitely. A nice claret, I think, to toast promotion with, hopefully.
Right.
72 clubs in the Football League. Are there many board members working behind the shop on a match day?
I have no idea, but I would assume no. I would assume there's even less board members working behind the desk at the shop than there are female board members in the EFL all over the place, which is a very low number to start with.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How are you finding it as a female in what has been a very male-dominated environment in this country in football boardrooms?
I understand that that's the history, but I haven't seen any barriers to it whatsoever. The rest of the board treats me just like one of their own. I bring my own talents to it with the merchandising and the marketing. You know, I have a background in marketing and sales for my entire career, and we all work very well together. So no barriers whatsoever in this club.
And the shop, we're in the shop now. The shop's looking great. I mean, how are sales going?
Unbelievably well. We have already, since the beginning of this season, done more in merchandise sales than we did all of last year, which was more than all of the year before. So the Wycombe word is spreading, and everyone wants this new gear. So we can barely keep it in stock.
So we're here before the Wimbledon game, so this is the last home game before Christmas. You're going to be very busy today, aren't you? There's people here waiting to buy scarves. Come on, guys, you can still pay. This will make good audio for the interview. So what we have here, we've got a brand new Wycombe Wanderers scarf and a bobble hat. These look fantastic. What's attracted you to these?
My husband and daughter are season ticket holders, and I'm just trying to get them as a little bit of a surprise for Christmas.
All right, we won't say no names. No names.
But later.
But they look very nice. Did that?
This new scarf,
yeah,
so soft compared to the old one, and you can just tap right here. We have gone in the shop just like in the rest of the stadium. We are completely cashless, and everything is done wirelessly and cashlessly and without paper. Would you like an email or a text receipt? Here, go right ahead and type that in. So it's all very smooth, and the greatest thing about this system is I can watch it, and I do, unfortunately for everyone involved, watch it all day long, even when I'm in the States. So on a match day, I know exactly what's selling at all times, minute by minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Even though I may be 5,000 miles away.
Wow. So Rob, I picture you guys watching the football and the matches, but you're also screaming at the screen going, we've sold some more baby socks.
I do, actually. When it's a new product that's just come in, like these Santa hats today or the Santa stockings, I do constantly say to him, well, that's 10 in one day, or that. It drives him a little crazy, but quite frankly, that's my job in life.
So a Wycombe Santa hat's just gone through the till here, so a nice seasonal item as well. We've got the calendar here as well, which is always a seasonal favourite.
I had fun with the calendar, so I have to admit I was at first anti-calendar because I'm against anything that's dated that we can't sell again the next year. And Pete and the rest of the guys talked me into the calendar, but then I got to choose the photos, and we went with all goal celebrations this year, and it's not just the players, there's also fans celebrating goals in the pictures, and I have to say I love it, so okay.
I was going to say that
to be the Grinch, and now I'm happy it exists. So
the politics of who's on which month was it hotly contested?
Well, it was a little bit, and who was on the cover. Which, by the way, the one I picked for the cover scored our first goal on Tuesday. So hello, but there was conversation around that because I love this picture of Gareth that's in November, and it was pointed out to me that he had to be in November because that's both the month he joined the club and his birthday month. And I said, okay, well then, obviously November.
There we are. We need to include St. Gareth's Day here in November, definitely. Well,
all the best people born in November.
Only because your birthday's in November.
But you know, though, that means now that we can't sell anybody in January, otherwise the calendar will be wrong.
Oh, well, there you go.
Very true. We always used to scan across the opening months, like, who's going to go in the summer? There it is.
And would you like a receipt by text or email? So it was a lot of fun putting it together, and they were probably right. I'll admit that.
I need to ask you about match days because obviously you're 5,000 miles away, you and Rob, and there's a whole army of people now in Louisiana watching these games online. What's it like? I mean, I've never had to do it.
It's great fun. Most of the matches are early in the morning, so we actually watch them from home. Occasionally on a Saturday, I have to be in my bookstore, and I have it on the television there, but it's just me that early in the morning. I'm not, showing it publicly or anything like that. And we'll be texting back and forth to each other if we're not watching it in the same room. So it's almost like when he's here and I'm not. We're texting each other during the match as well. But, watching the match on TV is not nearly the same as being here in person, but of course we can't be here for every match.
And are you calm? Is Rob calm? What's the dynamic in the room if Wycombe let a goal in early on?
I don't think calm is the right word, but it's not overly excited. It's, okay. We know it's a long season and a long game. And tense, yes. Calm, no.
Well, enjoy the shop. It's great to see you behind the till.
Thank
and
you.
and good luck with all the merchandise. And people can get stuff online, right, until Christmas?
Yes.
What's the cut-off date for them?
It's hard to know with shipping what it is today. We can't guarantee anything, but we will try our best to get things to you as quickly as we can.
Smashing. Well, happy Christmas, Missy.
Merry Christmas to you.
Our consumer correspondent, Phil Catchpole there, from the excellent Ringing the Blues podcast, which has been mentioned twice now on this week's show.
I was very impressed with all of the customers as well chipping in.
Yeah.
It was good, wasn't it?
You're expecting the credits at the end there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of the people who featured in the making of that. Thank you very much to Phil.
Yeah, excellent. We'll be back next week with a bit of a different show, because we won't be looking back on a game. That's true.
No, already.
But we'll be previewing the hopefully busy festive fixture schedule.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Cambridge United on Boxing Day. Let's hope it goes ahead.
Let's hope it's not too chilly as well.
Yeah, cool. Yes, it was cold there on Saturday.
As has become tradition, I'd like to leave the final words to you.
Ho, 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 and a Merry Christmas, and let's hope that the COVID doesn't cause too many more postponements.
Well, thank you very much.